It says the broadcast is live.
Hold on
That's what it says.
Excellent. Perfect. So we got a preview. Yep, we're live here. Now I have to click to go live from this one. And I'll give it a title.
What are you going to do for the title?
Probably, let me see, what's it about? Title required. I'm going to say MDP subspecial, and it's on Southern culture.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Yeah. Yes, I like it. You see my picture of my little bar I had set up?
Let me see. Ooh, I like that. This special.
Boom, boom, boom. Who are the times?
All right. And yes, it will let us go live. Okay, so I will go live in about 5 seconds.
Nice.
All right. Hey, y'all. I hope everyone is having a fantastic Saturday and a wonderful Memorial weekend. I hope all of y'all are going out there, going to memorial services, flagging the graves of our loved ones. So welcome to another subscriber special video from Mason Dixon Podcast and, us here at MAD. And it's a pleasure to be on here with my buddy, Georgia Jude. How are you, man?
Doing great, doing great. Excited to talk to you people.
Excellent. So in our special subscriber space, this is only visible to all of those that have subscribed here. So we thank you for that. And we have a special topic. So what are we going to be covering?
So we got a couple of things. The main thing we're covering is how to create and maintain Southern culture. But a lot of things affect Southern culture. So we're going to be talking about politics, bourbon, Christianity, a few different things that affect Southern culture as we know as a whole, and how we're going to move forward creating Southern culture.
Excellent. And I like that you bring up all great things. You have to include all of those when you're talking about, Southern heritage and culture. And I know politics is the tricky one because a lot of people get like terrified of that word, and it's a necessary evil because if you look at it like this, our culture has been politicized and, essentially been attacked on a political level.
Well, and that's the thing is, I don't like it, but that's just how it works. Politics makes the world go round. Doesn't matter what country you're in, doesn't matter what you got going on. Politics makes your nation go round. And what's going on in American politics affects Southern culture. It's not affecting us in such a good way right now. So we need to figure out how to navigate that and make it work to our advantage, not our disadvantage.
That's right. Make it so that we can work with it and that it's not adversarial. And that's like the key part behind that. And, getting involved politically, it takes a lot of effort. Sometimes you have to vet out your candidates who's running. You have to skim the bills for monuments or monuments that pertain to our bills and heritage, because that's how a lot of times the politicians will be very sly about that. They'll put something in there about our heritage and it goes under the radar. And we've even seen that with other states attacking the South with that.
Very true. And it's not a fun time. Are you able to see how many people are viewing?
Of course. Yep. Is that your vodka?
My bourbon.
Bourbon. That was a vodka. Yum. Vegan.
We might not have any viewers yet.
Some of them will come on eventually. And I know if they don't come on now, they can always watch the replay.
For those of you who are watching the replay, I'm going to go ahead and pour up some new bourbon. I'm drinking on this Brothers Bond. Do you know anything about that, Vinny?
I've never heard of that. What's a little history about that bourbon?
So, As you know, I have a new girlfriend. Well, not a new one, an old one that I've rekindled a flame with. To relationships in the South.
Amen.
But she's really into this show. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called The Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, they feature a Georgia town in there, if I'm not mistaken.
They do, and that's what inspired me buying this bourbon. Is because okay, sorry, that's what inspired me buying this bourbon. Is because on Friday she wanted to go visit the town they filmed in, so we did. We went and visited, and they have a whole little gift shop and stuff about it. It's a pretty good show. In all honesty, I've watched it a few times. Whether it's again, it's just supernatural shows about these two vampires. One of them was a Confederate soldier in Virginia. And it's really it's set to the backdrop of the war of Northern aggression. It's not super promotional about our cause, but it's not against our cause. It's just kind of, hey, this happened. Anyways, the two main characters got together and made their own bourbon. So it's called, yeah, there we go. It's called Brother Bond. Again, it's made by two main characters who are brothers in the show. It's not bad. It's a Arkansas bourbon. It's like $30 to $35. It's expensive, but it's really good. It's good sipping whiskey. I wouldn't recommend buying it for shooting, but if you're putting it in glass like I am, it's good sipping whiskey. And again, the show's not too bad. Like I said, I've watched it a few times. It's filmed in the exact same town that Dukes of Hazzard was originally filmed in before they moved to California. So while we're like looking at the spots and stuff, she's like, "Hey, there's a Confederate flag," because she knows I love Southern culture. I'm like, "There is okay. There's an entire section." Look, it's all about Dukes of Hazzard. So that county in Georgia was where Dukes of Hazzard was filmed. You ever heard of the show In the Heat of the Night?
I have actually, yeah. I haven't
They
watched it,
was
but name's
filmed
on.
there.
Really?
Another show, something Magnolia, was
Steel
filmed there.
Magnolias. Love that movie.
Yeah, so that was filmed there, along with. Do you ever watch the old Disney movies Halloween Town?
Yes.
They were filmed there. So a lot of history, a lot of good shows. And again, that's why I date her, because we went out, we spent the entire day there, got to see all the sites, and I've got a post coming up for those of you who are watching. I've got a post coming up about the cemetery. The SCV is pretty active there. So here's the beautiful thing. So in the show The Vampire Diaries, the show that my girlfriend likes to watch, it's supposed to take place in Mystic Falls, Virginia, even though it's filmed in Covington, Georgia. But there's a Confederate monument that plays a somewhat significant role in the show, because the whole show is people from the town or from the 1800s. They served in the Confederacy. The battles that took place there were Confederate victories or losses, blah, blah, blah. There's a Confederate monument in the show. I have heard has been taken down. That's what I have heard.
What?
But I had also heard what?
They took their, so they removed the monument?
Well, that's what I had heard. And again, could be wrong about that. But I had also heard that there was a lot of pushback from people who liked the show, because they're like, no, that's part of the show. Like, you can't take that down. Like, blah, 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 all this stuff. Well, when we went on Friday, it was there. It was up in the middle of downtown. Beautiful monument with a very unique statue I've never seen. It's dedicated to the soldiers that fought and died there. It's also dedicated to the women who took on responsibilities and kind of had to, I'm pulling a picture of it, who had to, step up and be leaders. Don't know how well you can see that on my phone.
I can actually screen share a picture of the monument, and there's a Covington, Georgia monument.
Can I send it to you?
Yeah, you can do it too.
Yeah, let me send it to you. What do you want me to send it to you, on Facebook or text?
Covington, Georgia, and I think it's this one right here. Has the crossed muskets.
Yep, cross muskets.
All right, I will.
But
pull
it's
that up
there.
now.
I mean, it was there. I read it. And not only that, like I said, the cemetery had an entire Confederate section. There were little things all over. And before you screen share, I want to show you this. I bought this. So my girlfriend, she passed it. This is the way it works. This is why you trust your women in the South. We were walking by a bunch of different shops. There was this art gallery, and she wanted to go in. I didn't want to go in, to be honest with you. But I went in, and they had this, which is a picture of a pencil
Ooh.
drawing. So you see that? That's a pencil drawing of the monument that they took a picture of. They were selling it for like $5. So I bought it. I thought it was beautiful. Boom. But yeah, so that was pretty awesome.
Here is a picture of the monument. Yeah, the structure of that monument's really interesting too, because I like how they're able to, and look at just the landscape, how beautiful that is.
Oh yeah,
The
that's it.
flowers, you have this beautiful crossed guns. Usually it's crossed swords, but I think it's interesting they did rifles for this. And just you see that really old Greek style with the pillars and
Let
facing
me
south of the gun.
let me zoom into the picture and see how long, because me and my girlfriend talked about it. Since 1906, that monument's been up since 1906.
That's right. That's right. And it's really interesting too, because I saw a lot of the monuments also went up. Some of them went up during the centennial of the American Revolution, and thus proving that this was our second, revolution, the war between the states. And then you also see as the states are able to finally rebuild, as they're able to accumulate enough funds, they can start to put up more memorials. And that's what I think is so beautiful, is like their efforts paid off. And this is exactly what we're doing here. Rome wasn't put up in a day. Dixie wasn't built back in a day, but we are working very hard to build back Dixie better. Oh, great to see you. We have Christian Lee in the chat, and I think JN Lowe will be joining us soon as well. Excellent.
Hey, send a link to Christian Lee. See if he wants to hop on the chat.
I think it should be in the chat too. So if he just clicks it, he can join.
But yeah, so that's what I did Friday, and that's kind of what inspired this. There's a whole lot more that inspired this, but that's kind of what inspired this, was just because that's kind of part of Southern culture too.
I love that memorial. It's absolutely, and it shows you what are the chances that a vampire show of all things would be what really united people to learn history and want to protect this beautiful artwork, because it's such a hallmark piece of that show. It's iconic, much like the clock tower is as well, I believe, in the courthouse.
Oh yeah, so that's a big thing, the clock tower. And it's got a little like restaurant you can go and eat there and stuff. And again, she wanted to go because of the show. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like that'd be great. And I got out there and there was just so much rich Confederate history out there. And I was just amazed. I was just blown away. And I loved it that it was so preserved because of media. And see, that's the thing. When I was growing up, I remember when that show came out. And see, that's the thing, is they're trying to make a culture change, because that show could not make it today. It just couldn't. So that shows the culture change, but we have to get back to that kind of thing. We have to get back to where, your local TV shows has to do with Southern heritage, Southern history. Again, the show is supposed to take place in Virginia. Background is Southern War, Civil War. Well, I don't like to call it that, but
The war between the states, that's right, or war of northern aggression. In Virginia, speaking of that, I thought of something real interesting. So I got a chance to finally go to the Crossroads Confederate store in person. It's absolutely beautiful. They have some interesting vintage magazines, and one of them is a magazine that I have a copy of it upstairs somewhere. It actually was a magazine that covered Southern politics and Southern culture as its own entity, which I thought was amazing. And it would cover all the Southern states, what's going on. And it actually was fantastic that such a publication existed. And I was thinking that it was a magazine from like the 90s. It was up until 2000 something. I have to find the title of it.
and see, and that's the thing is, we have to just create the culture. And that's the
right.
thing is, used to, we could just rely on the culture being there. But our ancestors knew this would happen. That's why they charged us with this. They knew that one day we would have to carry on the good Southern name. And I think it's working, because in a few minutes, I'm going to talk about a little bit about Gone with the Wind. I was also explaining to my girlfriend a little bit about the Kill a Mockingbird, stuff like that. There was just so much rich culture in the South. Do we get anyone watching now, or is it still just us for a few minutes? Because I want to move on to something really interesting about the military.
All right, Christian said he will join as soon as he can. He's just at dinner. No worries, Christian. Whenever you can.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Vinny, I'm sure you heard this. Ron DeSantis has announced his run for presidency.
Oh, yeah.
You don't seem fond of that. I'm not the fondest of it either.
After his reaction, so for those that aren't aware, those who might be a new subscriber, the summarized version of why I am not a fan of DeSantis is, you would think that if you're a governor of a southern state, you'd be proud of your state's history and heritage. He appointed Laura Lee to a higher position of power. Laura Lee, for those that don't know, is responsible for why Florida lost monuments. And I'm also, I do work for a wonderful company called Save Southern Heritage Florida. I do their video stuff. And on there, we did a mail out campaign and it covered Laura Lee with a shirt that says, I did that. And she's pointing up at the monuments being torn apart by the crane because she was responsible and she was a Republican. It's interesting because Ron, he responded negatively to when we did our amazing flyover that everybody in Jacksonville loved. The people were cheering. People were so happy to see that somebody was calling out that we need to put the monuments back and standing up for Southern heritage. That flyover was not only for Florida, but it was for Baltimore, because Baltimore was a southern city that was completely destroyed, not only during the war between the states, but currently. They continue to tear it down. They remove their monuments. And it was the Baltimore Ravens versus the, believe it was the Gators. And, or sorry, not the Gators, a team at Jacksonville Jaguars. It was really interesting, the coverage of that. People never realized that it was a fully functioning, dual functioning flyover. It was covering not only Florida, but Maryland, and showing awareness to that this is wrong. And people on Twitter loved it. Overall, very positive. DeSantis called us a bunch of jabronis, which is a nasty word. And he was just not for the flyover at all, as were some of the rhinos.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, and again, if you're watching right now, join the chat. This is for you. This is for everyone to get involved. This is the time. We've only got like 20-something subscribers. It's for everyone to get involved. Voice your opinion. But that's another thing that's going against Ron DeSantis. There's a few things, and here's what I would have done if I was Ron DeSantis. I'd have backed Trump. That's what I would do. I would have backed Trump and just enjoyed my time as Florida governor. And you're right about that, though. He really did make the Southerner against him. And that's one of the key things you can do right now as a Republican to really boost your numbers, is get the Southern states behind you. No one's behind Nikki Haley. They're not. We did a reel a couple months ago. Maybe we should reshare it, about Matt Walsh. If you guys are familiar with Matt Walsh, he did the documentary as a woman. He works for the Daily Wire. He's a Southern sympathizer. Let's just be honest about it. Everything he said has been very sympathetic to the South. He's just a Southern sympathizer. He's talked very well about the books written about Stonewall Jackson. Matt Walsh contributes the beginning, what got the ball rolling, basically what lit the fuse to cancel culture, was Nikki Haley taking down the Confederate flag in North Carolina. Was that where she was governor?
No, South Carolina.
South Carolina. He contributes when she took down the Confederate flag. He doesn't really give a whole bunch of heritage reasons why and the real meat and potatoes about it, but he says when she took down the flag, that set off cancel culture. That's right. He contributed to that. And that's the thing with these Republicans, because the parties did switch. We can talk about that later, but the parties did switch at one point. The Republican candidacy, they've got to cater to these southern states. They have to. And here's why. Because, again, Ron DeSantis, who, and this is why you can disagree, and that's perfectly fine. We love you anyways. We're all family. We here at Monuments Across 60 are backing Donald Trump as our candidate because he's support our Southern heritage. Ron DeSantis has some good things going for him. Trump has some good things going for him, but Trump is the only one. And it's funny because he's a New Yorker, the only one who's really supporting heritage. Ron DeSantis made a point that the military is dramatically losing numbers, dramatically. And we've called for that, honestly. Here at Monuments Across 60, we've called for Southerners to quit joining the military because they're renaming all our bases. They're renaming, they renamed Fort Hood, Fort Benning,
Fort Lee,
a whole bunch of them. And this is one thing Ron DeSantis brought up in his announcement was that the Southern people, Southerners, have quit joining the military, and that Southerners alone. Now, it's not just Southerners. All of America has quit joining the military, so it's the numbers have gone down. But Ron DeSantis has pointed out that people from the South have quit joining the military, and I'm not trying to brag and say, well, great. It's not about us. But we have pushed Southerners need to quit joining. We're not the only ones. A lot of people have pushed that. And finally, Southerners are catching up. So you're just like, why should I join the military when you're going to rename the bases? Honoring my Confederate heroes. This is Hood. This is Hood. I've got this. I bought this at Dixie General off I-20 in Alabama. If you guys go, same place I got this nice ring. This man lost his leg. His leg. I don't know which leg. Maybe you know. He lost one of his legs defending Georgia. He fought tooth and nail to defend Atlanta from Sherman. Why in the world would I join a military whose renaming base is named after that man? Why? If they don't want to respect the Southern man, why should the Southern man join their ranks?
That's right. And people forget the reason why these bases were named after our Southern and Confederate heroes was, you got to remember, even to this day, we are still not happy what happened in the war between the states. During the 1900s and whatnot, when they started, the military wants to expand. Militarism is nothing positive because that leads to essentially more military control, and we don't want that. So military wants more land, and they're like, where can we grab land and develop it for a good price? Oh, Dixieland. Oh, but here's a problem. You have Northerners that want to do this. They realize, okay, if we can at least get the Southerners on board, we can kind of create this false illusion of patriotism, buy up the land, and hey, we'll name it after your Southern heroes. That little compromise, them honoring our heroes, was enough for us Southerners. Okay, perfect. You can build this. You're honoring our heroes.
Which would be great if it was honest.
Yeah, and for the longest time, people were joining. And it used to be, and it still is to an extent, but the numbers are dramatically decreasing. That's why they're concerned. Dixie provides, hands down, the most men, and their states have very high military enrollment compared to the West Coast and North. So by them doing that and the military going woke, people have said enough is enough. Why am I going to put my life on the line when you don't honor my ancestors? You called my ancestors traitors. You've attacked the heritage. So why am I going to put my life on the line for that? That's useless. And that's smart by doing the joining boycott, because their numbers are going to tank. And then they're going to see, is it really worth it that we are buying in and promoting this woke nonsense and that we're destroying heritage? It's going to bite them in the butt.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing about Southerners is, we're willing to put up with some stuff, For a lot of America, it's the big push of LGBTQ and trans stuff. But for Southerners, I think Southerners, it was really the renaming of the bases. Because, I'm a huge Charlie Kirk fan. I love Charlie Kirk. I love his relationship with God. I love how he deals with politics. Where Charlie Kirk and I disagree is he's bought into lost cause theory. He believed the righteous cause, that the war was to end slavery, blah, blah, blah. But, that's one of the things I can let go of because that's not one of the biggest things he pushes. For him, that's not a hill he will die on. So I can work with him. Again, Charlie Kirk, he admits that the majority of the military is made up by Southerners. And that's the thing. That's what I really wish I could get alone with Charlie Kirk and talk to him for a little bit, because he would make a good Southern man, because he understands the Southern gentleman made up the majority of the military. And he even did an entire show about how Southerners fought in every major war. Without the Southern man, we wouldn't be what we were, and that we need the South.
That's right. The magazine, by the way, that I found, because I remember the title, it's called the Southern Partisan Magazine. And they covered Dixie from a Southern perspective. And it was like, kind of showing Southern states their ideology, because, right, you have this issue. And I like Christian's comment, because this comment also brings up a good, concern. Trump compared himself to Lincoln more than once. And that was one of my little things about Trump that I was not a fan of, is his constant veneration of Lincoln, him wanting to idolize Lincoln in that way. And it just pushes this myth. And this is the problem. It's almost like Republicans will ride with it. Oh, yeah, we support your Southern culture, but they don't actually have any backing. Now, that I definitely agree is concerning. The one thing I do like is that he was the only Republican president in our time that had praised in recent years Robert E. Lee, and he condemned what they did in Richmond. So that I do appreciate him doing that. I do wish he would have done a little bit more what he could have done at the federal level to be more outspoken and push the issue more. He did it, and it did make a lot of people happy, like me, that he stood up and said the base name change is wrong. He stood against Miley. So that was excellent.
Well, and here's what we have to remember. And this is what a lot of people are not taking into account. And this is why, because again, I'm from Georgia. Brian Kemp's our governor. He's failing us, if we're being honest. But anyways, in Georgia, the Democrat Party was so concerned because this is the last year Brian Kemp can win and he can run. When you have two terms, your first term is pretty mild. It's got to be mild because you're worried about that re-election. Your second term is when you really take the offensive and do whatever you can because you can't get re-elected. It doesn't matter. You can't run again. And that's what they were worried about here in Georgia is like, Brian Kemp's going to, you think what he did was bad? Just wait till he wins re-election. He can't run again. He didn't help us culturally. He's actually... Okay, so I want to talk about Bill he signed recently. Kind of upsets me, it bothers me. But when we finish up the Donald Trump thing, that's kind of the thing with Donald Trump is, again, he was very mild because he was trying to run again. I think we'll see a very more aggressive Donald Trump if he wins the second time. And maybe we'll see some of that change we want to see. Let me talk about this bill Brian Kemp signed, though. And we at Monuments Across 60, we called it out. We asked for him not to sign it. He signed a new budget. And the budget did a few things. One of the things that the budget did, which I like, but I don't like what else it does. So he signed this new budget, and basically it gives him power. Ooh, yes, we're going to talk about that. That's where we're going. That's where we're going with this one. It gives Brian Kemp the power to remove pretty much anyone from public office anywhere in Georgia. So if he's like, hey, you're in this county, I don't like how you're doing things, I'm removing you. Basically, it kind of gives it a little bit too much power because if this was a Democrat thing, I would be pretty concerned. But he can basically remove Democrats from power. If you run for mayor and you're a Democrat, he can just say, hey, no, not anymore. You're not mayor anymore. I'm removing you. Which is great. It's a good thing. But in that exact same bill, it approved a truth-telling, excuse my French, a bullshit museum. So it approved a museum at Stone Mountain that's going to talk about the Ku Klux Klan and their history at Stone Mountain. Here's the thing, Vinny. This is what I want to talk about. The radical left, they're the ones keeping the Ku Klux Klan alive.
Exactly. And I love what Christian put this comment up, and this is exactly what Kemp has done.
See the comments.
Dangling a carrot. I don't know if it's, let's see.
No, I'll get it. You keep talking. I'll figure it out.
So dangling a carrot, and this is exactly what these politicians do. They dangle the carrot. Oh, Southern Heritage, his first term promising. Oh, pulling that carrot up higher. Oh, elect me a second time. Second time comes, he's still dangling that carrot. He has this wonderful, juicy, big organic carrot, and you are getting none of it. This is the problem with the politicians. And it's almost like this, right? They cave to the left worse than the left does. Or my favorite is this, right? Because in New Jersey, our Republican, this is a prime example. It's two wings of the same bird. And this is why I love Southern Partisan Magazine, is because it covered, how bad the Republicans were in some cases. Either whether they be a turncoat or, in the case of New Jersey, we had a huge problem in New Jersey where there was a bill that was sponsored, and I have to pull the bill number, but basically in 2020, the Republicans were siding with the left to wanting the Capitol to remove monuments. So essentially, it was a bill that was drafted in New Jersey, and they were going to take this bill in Jersey and then push the Capitol and say, look, New Jersey wants the South to remove all their Confederate monuments in the Capitol. The Republicans, all but one, sided with the left. Those that didn't side with them just said it abstain. Abstain, you're just as guilty. Vote no and stand by that no. Only one of them did that. And the ironic part was the only Republican that voted a hard no on that bill was the same Republican who was with the group of traitors Republicans that had voted yes to make Black Lives Matter Day a New Jersey state holiday in July. So that was the mess that we have here. And it was just absolutely abhorrent that some of these Republicans are, let's remove all monuments. But here's the catch, Jude. Some of those Republicans were really, really angry that a town in New Jersey, Union County, wants to change their state seal or county seal because their county seal is from the American Revolution and shows, a woman being murdered by a redcoat. So it was ironic how they hate our heritage, but you have heritage from the American Revolution, which is based on the same principles, as our Confederate heritage. You can't have one and condemn the other. So that's what I absolutely think is comical with these Republicans.
No, I agree. And that's again, like you said, that's honestly what Brian Kemp has done is he's dangled protection for Stone Mountain. And I'll give him this. And that's the thing is I will praise the politicians. That's what we do at Monuments Across 60. We praise them for their good. Because that's the problem. I'll admit this. This is the problem what we do as Southerners. We want to talk negatively about politicians when they do bad things, but don't want to reward them. So, we have a monument protection bill here in Georgia. It's supposed to protect all the monuments. It's done good, honestly. It's worked pretty well. He appointed 2 new members to the Stone Mountain Memorial Association Board who voted yes for that protection. So he's strengthened it a little bit, but the thing about Kemp, here's the problem with Kemp, is he's playing both sides. He's doing a Lincoln thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm going to do just enough to keep the SCV happy, but also just enough to keep the radical left happy. And I'm going to be honest.
Wrong choice on his part.
First off, I ain't got much bourbon left. I'm going to have to pour me in a cup. The Stone Mountain. And the ultimate goal here in Georgia for the SCV, we want Stone Mountain signed over to us. That's the way it's got to be. Because here's the thing. They don't want taxpayer dollars paying for Stone Mountain. That's fine. Taxpayer dollars ain't got to pay for Stone Mountain. Let the SCV pay for it. Give it to the SCV. We will gladly take it. Hey, just the mountain. You can keep the rest of the park. You can keep everything else. Hey, we'll let you do your laser shows. We'll let you do this. We'll let you do that. We'll work with you. We just want the mountain. We don't even want the whole mountain. We just want the section with the carving. That's all we want. And you can leave happy. Personally, it would be great if we gained the entire park, which is how it should have been. And I hate this section because this is when I have to talk negative about our ancestors. Well, ancestors kind of messed up. That park should have never become a public Georgia park. It should have been given to the SCV early on, but it wasn't. We'll let you do everything. The park is designated as a memorial park for the Confederacy. So it needs to be in the hands of the sons of Confederate veterans.
Yes.
So that's what we're working on. And we did good. I do want to brag for a little bit. This year, so I don't know if you guys saw, anyone who's watching, we posted, and again, I'll talk about this with the private subscribers. So there's a group that's, working against us, trying to destroy Stone Mountain. They make it to the Stone Mountain Memorial Association meeting every time it happens. Me, I don't get to make it. But guess what I do? I download the video and I share it on the Monuments Across 60 page. I use the enemy's weapons against them. So they're so upset because no street names were changed. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. They're not talking about changing street names. The head of security for Stone Mountain said that the Stone Mountain Memorial event for Confederate Memorial Day was completely peaceful, completely safe. They had maybe 30 protesters. Nothing got outrageous. That's a lot less protesters than we had last year, which that means their numbers are highly diminishing. So things are changing. We're winning back the culture, and we just can't stop. We can't. Getting the Memorial Day was great. We had a great time. That's a beautiful picture. We just gotta keep going.
Hopefully the protesters got jobs.
Well, they were really. So here's the thing. So let me paint the picture of last year compared to this year. So last year, the protesters were there before we got there. The protests were much bigger in numbers, like 50 to 60. They stayed until after we finished the service. This year, the protesters didn't even get there till like 30 minutes into the service. And there was only like 30 of them. And because the Georgia State Patrol said y'all got too close last year, they kept them really far back. They eventually just left. They stayed for like 10, maybe 15 minutes. Then they left. We had a great Memorial Day service. I saw the people who did the fames, which, if you don't know what the fames are, it's this monument in North Carolina. Is this in North Carolina, Vinny? It's the
Yes, that is.
angel.
That
Yeah,
is.
in North Carolina, they were there. Alan Sutton was there. Jason Broshears was there. A lot of people was there. It was a really good event. And we won today. It was a great day. We got really connected. And I do apologize. I did not do great on my streaming because my mic, I didn't realize that it had a range on it. But next year, you're going to get the whole Stone Mountain Memorial Day event live streamed, Monuments Cross Dixie, perfect sound, better video quality. It's going to be great. So how many people we got watching live who subscribe?
We have.
It's okay if it's just 2.
Hold on, we have, I think, yep, we have 2 viewers. And
Okay.
Christian says, would record bas relief sculpture. To be fair, I don't trust anyone to be in charge of it.
In charge of what? Interesting. So who are the 2 people watching? Let's communicate with them. You guys talk back to us, because that's the whole thing. I can't see the comments. Vinny's gonna run it. But who's the 2 people watching? We want to get your opinion, because that's what we do on these subscriber nights. That's your chance to talk to us and be with us.
Christian is one. I don't know who the other one is.
Okay. Now, if you guys got questions and want to talk, here we are. So you want to move on new stuff, or what you want? Where you want to go with this, Vinny?
So to the point about really what is Southern culture, Southern culture is really with the foundations of American principles, and people forget about that. I don't think anyone, when you compare North and South, I don't think anyone is going to go, yay, I'm going up north. I'm going to go to, Connecticut, or I'm going to go to Rhode Island. No,
Nope.
Or yeah, let's go to Chicago. Won't that be wonderful?
No, I don't mean that, but I got friends in Illinois who come down and see me, the Republicans, all the time. And they talk about how they're trying to move South Carolina because they're tired of Illinois and Chicago.
Tell them to keep their Yankee grievances up there when they move down and get ready to learn a whole new way of living.
Oh, they ain't got Yankee grievances. They want to come down and be part of the Southern culture. They want Republican stuff. They want to, because they like what the Southern culture is about. They're tired of the CTR and the trans movement and all that kind of jazz.
The CRT,
they want
that's
to come
right.
down here.
And you also think about our culture, right? We have probably some of the best food. And I tell people, not only do you have differences in, the types of food that each state offers, different regions of the states make different dishes differently. Prime example, jambalaya can be very different depending on where you have it in Louisiana, as well as cornbread. I had an argument with someone on cornbread, right? There's different ways to make it. Some places it's sweeter, like North Carolina, made with honey. Other places it's more like cake-like, and other places it's made a little bit more, hard. I also think it's interesting too with spices that are used, because different regions had different influence. So, for example, North Carolina, perfect example. You have coastal North Carolina, which is fed by seafood and has different plants. Then you have mountainous North Carolina, which is a lot different and has different foods that they make.
First off, us Southerners don't play when it comes to cornbread. Secondly, no, you're right. And food is a big part of our culture, and we will focus on that for a little bit. I don't know if you guys watch SCV Chat. Again, what we do here at Monuments Across Dixie is not meant to compete with SCV Chat. It's meant to accompany SCV Chat and go along with what they got going on. Connor did an entire episode about a barbecue, which I recommend you guys go and watch. And he talked about how all the states have their own different spin on Southern barbecue. How it's all good. It's all good. It's all about preference. But you're right. I mean, I love jambalaya. And here's one thing I want to point out about jambalaya. There's two main competitors when it comes to jambalaya. There's Savannah, Georgia, and New Orleans, Louisiana. Personally, a native Georgian, I will admit, I like the New Orleans jambalaya a little bit better. But Savannah jambalaya is not bad. We cook barbecue. And this kind of goes to culture too. Um, as far as Southern culture goes, we need to be proud of our heritage with food. So here's a good point. You ever heard of hush puppies, Vinny?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I
So
have.
BLM is trying to steal that and say that's their thing. They made up a cute little story. It's what they always do. Here's the thing: I don't mind giving Black Americans credit when they do great things. I don't like it when you lie about what they did. Same thing with Southern people. Same thing with Southern culture. If you lie about what a Southerner does, I don't like that. I want you to be honest. So they tried to say that hush puppies was a thing created by the slaves. It wasn't. It was created by French people in New Orleans. But oh yeah, ooh,
Hush
that looks good.
puppies.
That looks so good. Southern culture, we got some good food. What we need to start moving towards, and this is what I'm talking about, creating and maintaining Southern culture. We have some good Southern food. It's not always the healthiest, though. It's not always the healthiest. So we need to start moving towards a daily, substance, because that's what food is, substance for our bodies. Sometimes it's meant to be enjoyed in a way I would say is more or less a gluttony kind of way, like hush puppies. There's a time and place for hush puppies. Do I need to be eating hush puppies every day? Nah. Um, us Southerners, we need to break the idea of the fat Southerner. We need to start eating a little better, maybe working out a little bit more, make up Southern dishes. I've made a bunch of Southern dishes that are really good. I know you make some stuff, but we really need to showcase our Southern heritage and our Southern food. Again, hush puppy is a good one. I've started making a lot of cauliflower dishes that are really good. Cornbread, again, we don't play when it comes to our
How
cornbread.
do y'all make
But
your
you're
cornbread in
right.
Georgia?
We like it buttery. We don't, we like it medium sweet and buttery.
So yeah, not too different from North Carolina's.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people they really like sweet cornbread. There's some people who like bitter cornbread. It's all good. Just depends on what you got going on.
Now I have a really controversial question to ask you.
Okay.
It's gonna get real personal, y'all. Right? Ready? So for those that are easily
Okay.
offended, just cover your ears. No, I'm just kidding. Um, what do you put on grits? You're given a bowl of grits in front of you. What are you putting on it?
Just plain grits. Just plain grits. What? No, I'm asking. That's my
Oh, I thought
question.
you. Oh my god, you almost gave me a mini heart attack right there. All right,
No,
you're
like
given
the
a
grits are
just
just
a.
plain. There's no flavoring. There's no
Yep.
apple cinnamon. It's just plain grits.
So there's a bowl of plain grits. What do you prefer to put on your grits?
Okay, salt, pepper, a lot of butter, lots of butter, and it's got to be that good. I like that. Oh, what's the brand name? The Irish butter. Butter. What's it called? What's it called?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Kerrygold. Kerrygold.
Kerrygold.
That Irish butter. Lots of butter, and I want to put it on my toast. So here's the thing: what you want to do with your grits. Get you some grits. Eat it with a spoon for a little bit. Get you some pieces of toast. Put on the toast. Eat it as a sandwich. Oh, it's so good. So good. Yeah, a lot of salt, a lot of pepper, a lot of butter. A lot of basically you're eating a bowl of butter with grits on top.
Ah, Paula Dean style. She puts butter in everything.
Well, you're right. Hush puppies are real good. Grits are real good. Barbecue. Sun barbecues are important. I'm trying to think of what else is good. Catfish. So let's talk a little bit about our more seafood type. Gumbo, jambalaya, that kind of stuff. That's real reminiscent of New Orleans Cajun cooking. Let's think, where's the Cajun cooking? It ain't in New York.
Oh no! Oh,
It's in the South.
yeah, New York does not have good food. The only thing that you probably be with signature of New York would be cockroaches and things made of rats because they have a lot of those. Yeah. Yeah. Would you like a nice plate of stewed cockroaches? They're about yay big in New York. It's New York lobster.
Not good at all. Speaking of sun stuff, Vinny, can you hold it down for just like
Sure.
a couple of seconds?
Christian, I love Christian's comment. He says American cheese, and he puts the poop emoji. No, grits. With grits, here's how I do mine. I make mine with white cheddar. I do pepper, a little bit of salt, and I do cheese on mine. I've had someone told me this, and this is a northerner that told me this, and I wanted to just fall over in my chair. And she said she put sugar on grits. I go, why? And she says it's the same as oatmeal. I go, no, it's not.
No,
it's totally different.
It's not.
Sugar
People
on
do
grits?
that. Well, brown sugar. I've heard of some Southerners doing that. I've heard of some Southerners doing that. Hold it down for just a second. I'm fixing to have some fun. We're going to do some Southern bartending here in just a second.
Oh, yay.
But keep talking. I gotta go get all my ingredients ready. It's gonna be great. But keep going.
Christian, I love this. All right, keep on. All right, Jude will show us this, and I will hold down the fort. Christian's comment is perfect for the sugar on the grits. Yeah, I've had. So I one time I made a post. I said, "What does not go on grits?" And I got the craziest response. I think one of the best responses I've got of what does not go on grits. Someone said pumpkin spice alligator. That was absolutely revolting. Somebody put, oh yeah, like you can put shrimp on grits. Personally, I'm not too big on seafood. I have to be like in the mood for it to want it. But the one person goes, lobster and grits. I said, well, if you do lobster, you do some cheddar cheese, that could work. But grits is a savory dish. People think that grits is a sweet dish. I'm like, what do you think? No, it's to really get your body energized for the day. And one of the ways you do that is with your starch from the grits and the protein from the cheese. So I've done cheddar and bacon on grits. I thought that was yummy. But yeah, that's an American cheese, Christian. That's something I cannot stand. I think American cheese, the taste of it is just really yucky. I am a cheddar boy through and through. And I'm very picky with my cheddar cheese. I like cheddar, I like Gouda, I like Gruyere. Feta cheese I like. I don't like blue cheese really too much. So that's the one thing where I'm always like, up in the air with when cooking with that. And I also did go to, not an official chef school, like a prestigious one, but I went to one when I was younger, known as the Young Chefs Academy. And it was wonderful. For a while, it was all cooking, and I would do the cooking camps, and you learn, how to make recipes. And I built a huge folder from that, which I thought was absolutely wonderful. We used to have one in my state, and unfortunately, they closed down, which stunk.
I have returned. So we talked a little bit about, again, this whole episode is about, bourbon, politics, Christianity, how it all relates to Southern culture. You guys have noticed I'm wearing a Who Are the Tejano shirts. If you like this shirt, it's going to be on sale in an online shop for a little bit. And if you're a subscriber, get 5% off. So we're going to give you a discount code when it comes up. I'm going to do an entire episode. I want to do it for Jefferson Davis's birthday. We might not be able to do it because I have a special guest I want to come on when I do my bartending episode. But yeah, we want to do a whole episode about Southern bartending. And Vinny, do you mind if I kind of do a little preview what that's going to be like?
Please do. Please do.
So again, Who Are the Tejanos? Tejas means Texas. Anos mean Mexicanos. So I'm going to make a coconut margarita right now. I'm going to show you guys how to make it. And if you're at home, get you some stuff. Again, I'm going to do a whole Southern bartending episode. So I don't have a margarita glass. So I'm going to start off with a good old mason jar. So the first thing, so I used to bartend in a Mexican restaurant. And again, Mexico, they were kind of at war with us during the war. But I have a joke. If anyone knows anything about guitars, instruments like that, Taylor guitars. So it's Gibson, made in Tennessee. Taylor's made in California. Also made in Mexico. I've got a Mexican-made Taylor right there.
Look at that.
Just because it had the kind of what I wanted was Pacific. I really wanted that particular guitar. And people say, oh, is that U.S. made? And, that's supposed to be like a big deal. I'm like, no, it's made in Mexico. I like my guitars made in the South. That's what I always say. So get your cup, whatever glass you're going to use. I'm using a mason jar.
I'm going to see if I can give you the solo layout. Give me 1 sec to work this out. There you go.
That's
Perfect.
me. Okay, perfect. So you get your jar. Mason jar would work. Get your margarita glass if you got it. What you want to do is get you something like this, a little plate. If you can see that, that's lime juice. So you want to do lime juice first because you want to coat your rim with it. And again, I'm going to do a coconut margarita because it's summertime. And what you can do, I got a couple of these plates. What you can do, this is salt right here. I'm not going to do salt this time though because it's coconut margarita. So I'm going to do coconut shavings. So we're going to take the margarita glass. Again, this time it's just a mason jar. I ain't sticking as good as I want them to, but there we go. We got a couple of coconut flakes. Stick it on there. Enough for it. So, also got me some ice. Go ahead and fill up your glass with some ice. Again, I did the ice separate because I need to coat the jar. So, here's what I'm going to review with you guys first. How to make a bare minimum, the bare basics with my shaker. Oh, God. Hold on. Lost my shaker a little bit. So I'm going to teach you basically how to make a normal margarita, and then I'm going to throw in the coconut. Boom. So the way a regular margarita works is the first thing you need, obviously, is tequila. So I'm using El Toro Mexican-made tequila because I like my liquor made in the South. What you need is an ounce. So you can get like this, you can get one of those fancy little silver things that got ounce, half ounce. Think of it as a shot. So a shot is basically an ounce. So a shot of tequila is what we're going to do first. Again, we get that El Toro because I like my liquor made in the South. Gonna dump that ounce in our mixer. I'm using that as my mixer. Then the next thing you need is triple sec. What triple sec is basically just orange liqueur. It's liquor. Tastes like orange. I like this brand because this is the brand I used when I started out bartending. When I got my second job bartending, I worked at 2 different places bartending. This was the brand I used. About $10, not bad. So this is $10. This is $10. $20 in. Same thing. You're gonna do 1 ounce. So one shot basically. Gotta pour it on in. So right now we got 2 liqueurs in there. Next thing I like to do, and there's a whole bunch of different ways to do margarita mix. Personally, this is the way I like to do it. I like to buy the mix master, get whatever you want. I'm only gonna do, so the recipe calls for 4 shots of margarita mix. I'm only going to do 2 of these. Well, yeah, I'm only going to do 2 of these. So let's do 1. Boo, 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 boo. That's 1. We're going to do 2. That's boo, boo, boo. That's 2. Here's all mixed up a little bit. And I use the light mix because I just want a little bit of sugar. I don't want to be too sweet. I'm going for 100% lime juice next. So it calls for 4 shots of the margarita mix. I did 2 shots. So here's the 3rd shot, which is just straight lime juice. The 4th shot again. No. Doing a coconut margarita. Typically, I would do a 4th shot of lime juice. So that's 1 shot margarita. That's a 1 shot tequila. 1 shot triple sec. 2 shots margarita mix, and then 2 shots lime juice. Typically, we're doing coconut margarita though, so 1 shot lime juice. Next, we're going to move to some coconut rum. Does not have to be Captain Morgan. I just bought Captain Morgan. It's like $10. You're really not gonna get away from spending $10. So about $10. I use Captain Morgan, New York brand. Can't find a good Southern brand yet. So we're going to do 1 shot coconut rum. And again, instead of doing salt around the rim of a margarita glass, we did coconut rum. Or we did coconut shavings. Like this, coconut shavings. Then we put all our liquor into a shaker, like so. This is not a traditional shaker. This is like a protein shake shaker, but the same thing. We're gonna shake it up. It's gonna get bubbly. Then we're gonna pour it on over into our glass. Those it to right about the top. And with this particular margarita, because it's coconut, you can kind of see the coconut shavings. We're going to do 2 limes. And then give it a try. That's good. That's real good. So, I know this seems like a big sub jump to the show, but I'm just giving you a preview of the kind of stuff we're going to do. I'll make some more stuff later if you want to. I'm going to do an entire Southern bartending. But that's how you make a coconut margarita. It's pretty great. Not bad. If you're a Southern man who's married, your wife will love this. Me personally, I'd rather pour my bourbon on rocks and drink it like that. But this is pretty good myself. Well, itself, so pretty good. Just want to move that portion of the show, to be honest, because I was kind of ready to make a drink. So, yeah, that's all I got, Vinny. You can jump back on whenever you're ready.
All right. Jude, that was absolutely amazing. And I think you did such a wonderful segment that sums up Southern culture, really. The food, the drink, the politics, and all that. Because we're getting close to that 1 hour mark, and you know that I'm always as an educator, a stickler for kind of keeping things kind of, concise, but yet effective, like you just did right there. I have an idea. So some of you all that are watching that are subscribers, if you have more time, when we end this video soon, do y'all want to go back to the regular Mad and we'll just do an episode there on Southern drinks? I think that'd be a cool topic.
I'll hop on for that. I can make some more Southern drinks.
That'd be perfect. Yeah. That was absolutely amazing. I'm actually going to watch this replay to figure out how I can make this drink again at home. Of course, I'll probably be texting it and being like, hey, dude, what should I add in here? Because I think that's really cool. I've got to work on my bartending skills. That is something I tend to fall very short on, but I do make it killer mint julep.
Well, like I said, and maybe we can spend the last couple minutes talking about this. Jefferson Davis's birthday is coming up. And let me try to show you guys this. That's Jefferson Davis right there. I'm going to try to get my friend who lives here in Georgia, and Vinny, I want you to jump on too. I want to do an entire, Southern bartender episode where I just make a list of Southern drinks and stuff you can make, stuff you can make at home. Because that's the thing. Here's what I want to talk about for a minute. And Vinny, maybe you can contest to this, and maybe you can throw in on this. Alcohol plays a big role in our culture.
Yes, it does.
It's going to. And Southerners have a specific relationship with alcohol. My brother, for example, my brother is an alcoholic, a raging alcoholic. He can't drink. He just can't because he gets out of control. Part of Southern culture is knowing how to handle your alcohol. And for those of you who have kids, it's teaching your kids how to handle their alcohol, And again, we were supposed to talk about Christianity. We didn't really get to that. That's fine. The Bible doesn't really tell you not to drink. It just warns you about drinking. As a Southern parent, around age 16, 17, you need to start teaching your kids how to drink. How to not drink excessively, how to not be alcoholics, how to drink bourbon on the rocks, maybe how to make a drink here or there. Because here's the thing, they're gonna drink. Chances are they're gonna drink. You might have the exception, but if you control and you teach your kids how to drink, you handle it, and they don't end up alcoholics. So my brother can't hold down a job. He hasn't had a car in 20-something years, and that's sad. The Southern man shouldn't be like that. The Southern children shouldn't be like that. They should know how to drink. So, like I said, we're going to do a whole episode on Southern bartending, but again, just talk about Southern culture. Teach your kids how to drink. Don't let the world teach them how to drink. Don't let the Democrats teach them how to drink. You, with your godly heart No, you're right. No, that's how it is, though, Vinny. Don't let the ward or don't let the Democrats teach your kids how to drink. You, with your good Christian heart, with your Christian mindset, with your Southern ways, you teach your kids how to drink. You teach them how to handle alcohol. Because you know what? They're not going to get drunk and become alcoholics if you teach them. Sorry, Vinny, it's just the truth.
Well said. On that note, y'all, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Our subscriber only special. And we're going to then go live on the main page for just a little bit, talking about some Southern drinks and some of our heritage in that way. Perfect for, a holiday weekend coming up. All right. So y'all have a fantastic day and Deo Bendice.